30 p.m.
This is News 6 at 6:30. Thank you for joining us here live on News 6 Plus. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
And I'm Matt Austin. Let's get you right to your forecast. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas joins us now with more of that heat and a little green stuff on the radar.
Just a little, yeah. We're going to be watching just a few scattered showers. And I mean, showers might even be overselling this. Just a few light sprinkles out there, especially in Sumter County moving in toward Leesburg. There's been a few stray showers in and around Popco Winter Park tonight, right over the metro area. Again, things are super light out there. We'll continue just to watch a few of these stream in off of the Gulf this evening. Otherwise, most of us are going to be dry just under the clouds. Oviedo, we're at 83 right now. Cape Canaveral, we're sitting at 79. Kissimmee, we're at 88, 87 degrees in Orlando, where we have had some showers come through that have been a little, relatively speaking, heavier. We've been back into the low to mid 80s. We're at 85 degrees in Bushnell. Hey, in case you hadn't heard, the annual release of NOAA's preseason hurricane season forecast came out earlier today. They're forecasting 13 to 19 storms. Average, by the way, is 14. So right around average, maybe slightly above. 6 to 10 of those becoming hurricanes, then 3 to 5 are major. I always say to pay attention to these numbers because sometimes the inflated range there is to account for some of those short-lived storms out in the middle of the Atlantic as well. Again, regardless of how many actually do form this year, it only takes one. Now's a good time to start making sure that your kits are up to speed and ready to go for June 1st and beyond, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. A woman held at knife point in a gas station bathroom and a Sanford police officer outside the door waiting to go in. The chief tells us the officer had a responsibility to act and he did not.
So today the chief answered questions from our own Catherine Silver about the result of an internal investigation and what changes have been made.
911.
This video got thousands of views and dozens of comments when it was posted online in March. But Sanford's chief of police says it was edited.
That was overlaid on that video.
His officers responding to a gas station where a woman was being held hostage didn't hear her screams during the drive.
So this is the actual video and dispatch.
But they did hear this information from dispatch.
Upgrade reference signal 09.
And now they've upgraded this to a call where the individual has a knife.
This view is from the first officer who arrived at the racetrack on 1792. He waits outside the bathroom where police say a suspect with a knife cut the woman's neck and mouth. This video is from June, but the chief says he wasn't made aware of this until 9 months later. This department has spent more than 2.5 months reviewing 7.5 hours of body camera video and the officer's response.
Hey, can you hear me?
The chief says Officer Dominic Delorbe, the first on scene and most veteran, failed to take action and resigned during the termination process.
Tell me what you want to do. You want to wait?
The second officer you heard asking that question also did not follow policy and was suspended for 5 days without pay, put on probation, and given additional training.
The one difference between the two of them is that Delorbe was there first. Delorbe heard the victim making calls and asking for help.
The next two officers, the chief said, did the right thing. Chief Cecil Smith also says the supervisors who failed to properly notify the chain of command in the aftermath have also been disciplined.
Chief, there are people who watched this video and lost trust, who think the next time I call Sanford Police, are they going to hesitate? What do you say to them?
I will assure you that there will be no more hesitations with that. This was a mistake. And I think one of the most important parts about any leadership is that you accept the fact that there was a problem and that you accept your portion of that problem and that you correct those issues to make sure that those things won't happen again.
The chief says they will also be reviewing body camera video more regularly after this incident, so he is notified as soon as possible. And when they were looking at the video from this case, they heard another officer make a derogatory comment about the suspect. I'm told that officer also has resigned. In Sanford, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Well, this summer, a mother and her boyfriend will go on trial for the murder of a 3-year-old. In 2021, West Melbourne police said Josh Manns beat little Jamison Nance while his girlfriend Erica Dotson, a nurse's assistant, prosecutors say knew about the ongoing abuse. Told Jamison's daycare a duck attacked her son.
In our last story about this tragedy, a DCF worker also accused of failing to report the abuse avoided jail when she got put on probation. News 6's James Barbero is back in court today as one of the primary suspects faces a judge again.
Well, just before I went into court to record the pretrial hearing,
I learned through some new documents that the Public Defender's Office does not want Josh Manns and Erica Dotson to be tried together. They're arguing that would deny them a fair trial because what one says could implicate the other. In one example, the defense writes Dotson, the mother, told police Manns left him here all day, referring to 3-year-old Jamison Nance's body. If the co-defendant's statement is introduced to the jury, it will confuse the jury about the extent of each person's participation.
Judge, just so you know, I believe the deputies are getting Mr. Manns into the courtroom.
This was my first time seeing Manns or Dotson in court in 4 years. They've been in jail without bond. Back then, West Melbourne police said Manns was arrested on the run in Georgia. Dotson was then arrested on what would have been her son's 4th birthday.
My son was in the bathtub when my boyfriend had a seizure, and he said he's not breathing.
That was the 911 call police said the former Health First nursing assistant made, making up a story that Jamison drowned.
By having not done anything to prevent this long-term abuse that was going on, she, in the eyes of the law, has become an accomplice to this. A mom who allows this to happen is just as bad as the person who did this. Especially in this case where there was repeated injuries, she was medically trained, she certainly should have known what was going on.
When court was over, I approached Manns' attorneys, but they didn't want to talk to me about seeking to try Manns and Dotson separately. They told me they'll make their arguments to the judge in another hearing in about a month. The state is seeking the death penalty when trial starts in August. In Brevard County, I'm James Sparvero, News 6.
An unintended rural raceway is taking shape in South Lake County.
Neighbors reached out to me about this one. They moved there for peace and quiet. Now they're dealing with busted car mirrors and loud traffic. They say lives are at risk, and they have the video to prove it.
On a quiet rural road in Groveland,
I was heading home from work probably about 5 o'clock.
Patrick Borsey almost didn't make it home. 2 cars careening side by side down 2-lane Bay Lake Road split at the last possible moment, sparing Patrick's life on Good Friday of last year.
It was like time froze. All I could remember was I was just pumping the brakes and holding the steering wheel as steady as I could hold it. And luckily I didn't go to the left or the right.
This near-death experience is only a glimpse of a much larger problem, according to worried neighbors.
Nobody does 55. They do 75 to 80. If you're doing 50 or 55, they're mad at you.
Bruce Waters' camera caught the near miss. It also saw this. Weekend racing. Exotic cars using this rural road as a drag strip.
Do you guys feel like you've been forgotten?
We have been forgotten. You know, Southern Lake County, South Lake County, we're not given the consideration we should.
April Jones lives off Empire Church Road. It's a windy, narrow path, like Bay Lake, now used to avoid the busy traffic of downtown Groveland.
I have lost countless mirrors, been run off the road. I've lost tires. I've lost rims, sustained so much damage to my vehicles.
Lake County Sheriff's Office tells me since 2020, there have been 67 crashes on Bay Lake, Empire Church, and Lake Erie combined. 17 resulted in possible injuries. 46 reckless driving complaints have been filed too.
They've done hundreds of traffic stops on those particular roadways in the last few years.
I spoke with the Lake County Sheriff's Office about the area.
What are deputies seeing when they're in that area patrolling and seeing what people are doing on the roads?
There's a lot of distracted drivers and a lot of excessive speeds.
Neighbors tell me they would like to see more patrols on these roads to catch speeders and signs to keep big trucks off their little streets.
Congestion is horrible. So much building, construction going on, and they're really doing nothing to address the road situations.
We're entitled to safe roads just like anyone else is. We pay our taxes and we do everything that we're supposed to do. We should have safe roads, and they're not safe.
Wow.
So they're so upset by this, and this is their dream place. They've always wanted to live. They have animals and horses, all this stuff. They've thought about moving, and
That's a shame.
They're terrified.
That's
She
a
drives
shame.
her little grandkid around, and she's worried something's going to happen.
Well,
one
just
day.
seeing that video and the fact that he had the wherewithal to stay right in the center of it all, I feel like the natural inclination is to go left or right.
Yeah.
But my goodness.
Good thing he didn't.
Yeah, that's for
I'm
sure.
not sure he'd be here today.
Well, it is Central Florida's #1 news website, clickorlando.com. So let's check out what is trending. The U.S. Mint has made its final order of penny blanks and plans to stop producing the coin when those run out. A Treasury Department official confirmed that today. The blanks are flat metal discs that have not been imprinted with the image of Abraham Lincoln yet. The Treasury Department believes they will run out of those blanks next year.
So a penny costs more to manufacture than what it's worth. A 1-cent coin costs 3.7 cents to make and distribute. Make that make sense for me, Ginger.
That's what we're talking about, cents.
3.7 cents
It's no
for a
sense,
penny.
Matt.
The Treasury Department says ending production of the penny will save the Mint about $56 million in annual savings. When's the last time you had a penny in your purse or pocket?
No, I have some in the center console of my car. I will pick up a penny if I see it on the ground, only if it's facing
For
up.
luck, right?
Only if it's facing up.
Yeah.
But I can't walk past money on the ground and not do it. But we have a lot of pennies everywhere. That tells you it's not worth anything if people just walk over
I'm not
it.
picking anything up on the ground. It has to be a $100 bill because it's gross.
Okay, now you're ridiculous. And here are some of the other trending stories right now over on clickorlando.com. Traffic has been steady in the area of Epic Universe today. A lot of law enforcement in the area making sure there are no backups or difficulties for drivers because of that new park, Epic Universe.
And U.S. News and World Report doesn't think anywhere in Florida belongs in the top 50 best cities in the United States. Who are they? Who cares? You have to get to 59 before you find Parkland in Broward County, the highest local city, Alafaya in Orange County over on the east side.
I need them to redo
Orange
that
County.
list because they haven't been to Florida.
Who cares what they think anyway? Hey, honoring our heroes, that is a tradition in Ocoee.
Ahead of the holiday, News 6 went to a ceremony to witness this community's tributes to the fallen.
Lake County having some serious budget problems for the upcoming school year. The two reasons behind a big budget deficit for the district.
You're watching News 6 at 6:30, live on News 6 Plus, covering Horizon West, Lake Mary, and all of Central Florida. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Thursday evening traffic alert. Look, we're going to see those closures again. Southbound 417 Lee Vista. It's going to be there. This one, listen, mix this with the opening of a new park and major road construction. I need you to pay attention both daytime and nighttime now out here. Westbound I-4 at Kirkman. We will see heavy lane closures overnight for the next few days out here. You'll see some detours, but they will be good at picking that up right at 6 a.m. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
A deficit of $35 million is a problem no school district wants when planning their budget for the upcoming school year. But unfortunately, that's what Lake County school leadership say is about to happen.
News 6 reporter Jarrell Baker discovered there's a number of reasons why, including loss of students, the increase in vouchers, and more.
Lake County Schools says that they're going to be around $35 million short due to the financial impact of this school year and next school year. Now, according to this statement from the administration, the district is expected to lose around 1,500 students next year. They say it's partially because of the drop in birth rates in Lake County and the rise in vouchers. Elizabeth Emery with the Lake County Education Association explains.
There is data on how much each school or district is impacted by the vouchers. And I know for Lake County Public Schools, about $50 million was indicated on that DOE report.
It comes at a time where many teachers are pushing for higher pay, including Umatilla Middle School teacher Melinda Tice, who spoke at last week's school board meeting.
I know that in a lot of ways that your hands are really tied, but at what point do I quit a job that I really love to work in a warehouse just so that I can see better raises and a better work-life balance?
Emery says teachers also need better health care benefits and more manageable workloads.
I want folks like me to stay in our public schools and not go to other fields or to leave the district. And I also want my future students to be able to have amazing educators. And so we've got to make sure that we're creating the systems to do that.
The district says that funding for each student cost around $8,000, which means that they'll lose $12 million overall next year. They also say they'll lose $8 million in revenue funding, and the state legislature has done little to boost that funding.
Now we're very much in a waiting game because the state has not finalized their budget. And so there are a lot of questions about what will our funding really look like.
Officials say that the extra money going towards their contribution toward their employees' healthcare plan is also playing a factor in that deficit. Here in Lake County, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
Okay, so a lot of people getting ready for the big holiday weekend. Mount Dora is a great place to go for the weekend.
I'd like to dip my toe in the water in Mount Dora. That sounds nice. Go eat at the Goblin Market. We have meteorologist Jonathan Kegas here. The weekend, is it looking good? I know it's going to be hot.
It is going to be hot.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's not, there's rain chances in the forecast. They're on the lower side, 30%. Those heating of the day things are going to be with us, especially in the afternoon, evening. So if you are planning on doing stuff in the afternoon and evening, be mindful of that. I think by and large, the weekend's looking pretty nice.
That's great.
All things considered, for sure. Well, those rain chances going to be much, much higher this time of the year, as we all know. Now, beyond Memorial Day, I think we start to get back into our wet pattern once again. That might be the kick that we need to enter the wet season officially. Scattered showers out there, they are just that. Showers, sprinkles, moving from the Gulf inland. You see the green on the radar there, right around Zellwood into Tangerine, Apopka, Port St. Lucie out of West Palm. That's where the heavy stuff is. You saw those boxes pop up. Some nastier thunderstorms west of Lake Okeechobee between Port Charlotte a couple of hours ago. For the rest of the evening, all the heavy stuff stays well towards our south. Here's 8 o'clock. A few stray showers in the mix. I think this is still overdone from the model. Once we get into the morning, stray shower possible. I do think we see more sunshine tomorrow. Some drier air does come in, but with the added sunshine, we're going to help the sea breeze get going just a little bit. I think this is a little oversold too on the model. However, I think it has the right frame of mind anyway, where we're going to fire up the East Coast sea breeze right along I-95. That's going to try to march inland a little bit. So between I-4 and I-95, the potential is going to be there for some pretty strong thunderstorms before things kind of fade quickly. There's 8 o'clock on your Friday evening. Most of us are going to be on the quieter side. The further west you are, the drier you're going to be, so your rain chance is much lower toward I-75. Chance again for a few of those storms to get a little rowdy, especially along It's southeast of I-4 for most of Osceola County, closer to Holopod, Deer Park, Kenansville, Melbourne, West Melbourne, Cocoa Beach, Sharps, and Rockledge. That's where we're going to be under the gun for a low-end severe weather risk. We're not talking about widespread severe weather by any means, but some large hail, damaging wind threat going to be there with those storms getting going. Here's a live look in Daytona Beach right now. Temperatures around 80 under an overcast sky. We're out of the east now at about 7 miles an hour, helping us again to stay cooler. That means everything, that wind direction, especially this time of the year when it's blazing hot inland and nice and, relatively speaking, on the comfy side, closer to the shoreline. You see it there, 79. It's still a muggy 79 in New Smyrna. Also at 79 at the Cave, 86 in Groveland. Leesburg, good evening. We are at 85. Now here's a look at your pinpoint accurate forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by the Florida Lottery.
We'll start things off in the 70s again. Tomorrow back in the low to mid 90s. We'll have a shot at the upper 90s where it's going to be drier tomorrow. So again, Wildwood, Bushnell, Leesburg, we're in the mid to upper 90s. The breeze out of the east again once that sea breeze kicks in. We'll be seeing highs into the upper 80s along the coast tomorrow. 30% shot for a few passing downpours on Saturday into Sunday. The rain chances do go up a little bit on Memorial Day itself, but if you have anything to do, memorial services in the morning, I think we're looking pretty good at that point. 50% shot for rain on Tuesday and Wednesday, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Keep streaming. We'll be right back.
I'm Crystal Moyer.
And I'm Trooper Steve. Coming up in the morning, staying safe in that Florida summer sun.
What experts say we all need to be doing to protect our skin from the most common form of cancer, and it's not just using sunscreen.
Plus, your weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 Mornings, starting at 6.
Well, veterans, Gold Star families, and city leaders all got together in Ocoee to commemorate service members who made the ultimate sacrifice.
It was a solemn Memorial Day ceremony today as photojournalist Alex Cook witnessed military honors and personal reflections.
James W. Brown.
James W. Bruce.
Jack Corbin.
City leaders joined with veterans and Gold Star families in Ocoee today to honor service members who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Colonel Shay Tally Bradley, who served as a company commander in Iraq, explained why.
It is truly about acknowledging their service. Not service in the way that we would speak about someone's entire military career or their duty-bound obligations. I'm talking about the type of selfless service I routinely witnessed when tensions were high, patience was low, and people were truly scared.
She, like so many veterans and their family members, knows too many people who died in combat. Marine and Philip Miller, whose Green Beret son Rob was killed during his second deployment to Afghanistan, grieve every day.
The special, I guess, occurrence of this day is the fact that everybody else is joining us remembering the fallen who served our country, and we always are very grateful and appreciative of that.
Major William Maxwell says he wears his uniform to honor his fellow soldiers.
It is our responsibility to pass on the significance of the service that men who have gone and lived before them.
The ceremony was filled with grief, remembrance, honor, but also pride among those who once wore a uniform and know how lucky they are to have made it home.
Susan Curtis, United States Navy.
United States Marine Corps and the U.S. Army.
Mark Olson, Sergeant, United States Army.
In Ocoee,
Alex Cook, U.S. Army.
News 6.
That's
our
awesome.
guy
Yeah,
right there.
yeah,
Thank
fantastic.
you to all those who have served.
And thank you for watching News 6 at 6:30. Stream News 6 online anytime on our News 6 Plus Smart TV app.
Remember, we break news at clickorlando.com. We'll see you at 11 tonight.
It's the very first dedicated orthopedic hospital in the state, and it's bringing our community world-class care. Orlando Health Jewett Orthopedic Institute is a one-of-a-kind complex. Dr. George Haidakavich specializes in hip replacements and tells us how Orlando Health is leading the way to extraordinary results through technology. So you specialize in hip surgery. You are renowned throughout Central Florida and in other parts of the country and world, and you've performed thousands of hip surgeries successfully. But now you have a new technology available through Orlando Health that's helping you achieve even better results for your patients.
Correct. It's basically AI-based. Artificial intelligence seems like a nice buzzword nowadays,
Right.
but to simplify it, it helps a machine learn and make decisions and give us better information. When we used to do hips even 5-10 years ago, relatively crude measurements, we didn't have millimeter accuracy, nor could we model a hip specifically for you. So now what I can do when you come see me with your arthritic hip, I can get x-rays of your pelvis with you sitting and standing and model your exact pelvis. And we can animate the hip through a range of motion. The patient can see themselves going from deep squat to standing to stepping over a high box. So when I put the hip in, it is in the perfect position so you don't have a dislocation or a complication. And say you like yoga, or you like pickleball, or you like golf. So now we could activity match how we put the hip in and hit that target.
That is incredible, and I can hear recreational athletes all around the area saying, sign me up, because if it allows you to customize someone's hip for their sport or some type of lifestyle activity that they really love, just think about what that adds to their life.
It does. And so AI can help us in the operating room analyze an x-ray way faster than my eyes could and tell us that I'm a millimeter short or the hip is a millimeter long, and we could correct that right then and there. We used to simply get x-rays in a recovery room and say, that looks pretty good, but now we can get it exactly the way we want it and confirm it instantly.
Also, the patient experience the time in surgery and the recovery time that are significantly reduced.
Right. Well, we can do, a lot of these patients will have their surgery in the morning, they're home before lunch. And we are faster because I need less x-rays in surgery to check all my cuts. The computer can tell me where I'm putting the implant and then gives me a quick analysis right at the end of the case that I nailed it. So you're under anesthesia for a shorter period of time, which is good for everybody. It's always normal to be anxious about surgery. It's a big deal. But if you look at the results of hip replacement, a modern outpatient AI-assisted The success rate's in the high 90s. The complication rate is probably 1% in good hands. And if you have a good experienced surgeon and you have a beautiful facility that has all the latest technology, last thing I would do is worry.
Visit orlandohealth.com/ortho.